Yeah, we're not having a whole lot of fun, are we, on a Monday edition of GCR? In fact, it's so bad that, like, I think this guy actually had more fun hanging out and working with me a couple weeks ago. Joining us once again on GCR, Super Bowl 35 champion, WJZ 13 analyst, our buddy Qadry Ismail. Qadry, good morning, friend. How are you?
I am doing
Yeah.
well globally.
Yeah.
I am in a weird space mentally when it comes to the job of analyzing this Ravens ball club.
It's almost like, how do you even talk about it, right? Like, what do you even say? It's unmitigated. I mean, it's a complete and total disaster. Qadry, is it? Hey, we're overreacting to how bad it is, and we need to be fair that they're going to get guys back in the coming weeks, and that's when we can more fairly judge the team. Or is it more global than that? Is there a greater problem that it just appears the wheels have fallen off and there's no reason to think that anything is going to change that?
I think when you see this Ravens ball club on paper, we have given so much praise to their talents. But this is the NFL, and every team has on paper a level of talent. It is what you do with said level of talent that gets you to a victory. And even then, you're not guaranteed a victory. I think what we've seen is this team play at times above their capabilities and then at times be outcoached. And it is that dichotomy that I am wrestling with, because there are times where you can just see how, wow, you just did an amazing job, but yet, boy, that scheme wasn't the greatest scheme. However, you overcame it. And you see that time and time again, both on the offensive side of the ball, defensive side of the ball. And my final point to that is, I think what we're seeing with this now 1-4 team is that, yeah, finally it's all come to a head, and bad play plus injuries plus coaching equals bad football and a bad 1-4 team.
Can it be fixed in season, or is it just kind of too late at this point?
Well, again, it's never too late, because this is the NFL, and other teams, they mentally might not show up. And so if you mentally don't show up, then basically you have a chance to win. Your competitive spirit has to be at its best to win. Now, with that said, getting guys back, quote unquote, healthy, seeing if your star players within the locker room can motivate other players, supporting role players, not sitting there gossiping and thinking that they need to jump ship. Coaching needs to be very strategic, and therein lies where the AFC North, your schedule is before you. You can technically win, and you can technically be in a position where you would make the playoffs. Do I think you're going to advance in the playoffs? No.
Right.
But there is a possibility of at least making the playoffs.
Can that be done with Zach Orr as defensive coordinator, Qadry?
Well, I guess you would have to ask, can it be done with George Warhop at offensive line coach? Can
question.
It be done with John Harbaugh as the head coach? Can it be done with Eric DaCosta as the general manager? Can it be done with those pieces that I just mentioned as it going to turn around?
Qadry Ismail is with us here on GCR. Qadry, I feel like, because to your point, I'm not when I ask that question, I'm not blaming Zach Orr more than I'm blaming anyone else. And I think the John Harbaugh question is going to get louder and louder, but it's something that doesn't change until the end of the season with head coaches. You don't win Super Bowls with interim coaches or lame duck head coaches if you hope to turn things around. I do think the question about Zach Orr is twofold. It's one, you can change a coordinator and still make a deep run in the postseason. You know, we know a thing or two about that here in Baltimore. But beyond that, it's like yesterday, what jumps out at me is, for as depleted as they were, that was their group of edge rushers. Like, this is the group. Nobody was missing from that group yesterday. I mean, Adisa Isaac, sure, we can have that conversation, but there's nothing there. And I do think that at some point we have to have a conversation about why nothing is getting done up front, why this has continued to be an issue. And I do think it's fair to discuss specifically the defensive coordinator because of that.
Well, I guess you can say, well, who picked the players? So that's why I said Eric DeCosta. Well, who in the grand scheme of it all is in charge of the buck stops with me? That's why I said John Harbaugh. Now, with that said, yes, you got to include in Zach Orr. Yes, you got to look at the personnel as far as the coaches, and also why I also said from an offensive line standpoint, because this is a team, you said, turning it around.
Yeah, no doubt.
Well, you've got some talent across the board, tight end group, receiving group, running back group, but that offensive line, well, Eric DeCosta, well, John Harbaugh, well, Warhawk, all those guys, okay, you got to look at them too.
No, I think that's fair. And I, you know, do you think that if this goes this way, like I guess I would say it, do you feel like the bye week provides you that opportunity that you get through this week and then you have those conversations? Because if you're going to make a change, you're better off doing it during the course of a bye week.
Well, I mean, if you want to be clandestine, which this organization loves to do, then sure, bye week it up. I mean, okay. Geez, a bye week. Ooh, it's special. Oh, there's something about how we do things, and oh, no one else can do it the way we do it, and it's all because of the bye week.
Are you saying that if you feel like you have to make a move, you shouldn't be waiting for the bye week? You should just go ahead and make the move now?
Now you're trying to win. Okay, well then, what are you waiting for?
It's a fair point, Qadry. I do always feel like we fall into that trap where it's just easy to say bye week. That's the way that it works. But again, if you've decided that this is the problem, that this is what's going on, I think the point stands. Like, why wait another week? Why allow it to be any worse if you're convinced that's what the issue is?
Well, especially if you're saying that there's a turnaround. Like if there's a turnaround, or are you resetting? Mm-hmm. What are you doing? Like, what is it, that you came into this season with this idea that you are going to win? Win what? Win the Super Bowl. Why? Because you have a roster that is talented and ready, that you have drafted this group of players the year before and this group of current players that gives you the right mix of young talent, that you've acquired free agents that are going to bolster depth of play, that you have the superstars at key positions that are going to work, and it's going to be what it's going to be. You got all that in place, but it didn't come out that way because you are what your record says you are.
That's a fact.
You are a bottom of the barrel team, and statistically and record-wise is showing it.
Qadry, I feel like you alluded to something earlier, and I just want to make sure I didn't hear it incorrectly. I think a lot of people have questioned the player leadership of this group, like the guys on the field who are taking ownership of it and not allowing it to happen. Is it fair to say that the Ravens have a problem in that department?
It seems so. It really does. It seems so. Like the the way in which, like, I know, Marlon, as quirky as he is with regards to going out there and doing the podcasting thing and just social media and all that, whatever. But when it comes to the bigger picture of leadership, and I appreciate how Marlon is like, yo, we he calls it out. We just are not that good. And he calls it out. Something's got to change. And he calls it out. He keeps calling it out. So I appreciate that. I just think that I wish there was more. Like, I think that there's guys that need to hold one another more accountable. And it's not about yelling at one another, but it's about holding one another accountable more. And I hear, yesterday in the locker room, as you were sitting there watching and just feeling the energy, man, like it feels like, the whole quote unquote dead man walking. It felt like that energy.
No, I completely get it. A lot of people have brought that up, Qadry, the body language. Like, everybody's a body language expert all of a sudden. I do wonder how much of that, like, I feel like there's a chicken and the egg conversation there, which is, are you losing because your body language is bad, or is your body language bad because you're losing? And I don't know the answer to the question, and I don't know what insight you can share, but I do feel like sometimes it's easy for us to say, like, oh, this group is lost, or the coaches have lost the locker room, or whatever. And I think sometimes the answer might just be, hey, when you get your ass kicked, nobody's having a good time, and the body language isn't going to be good because of that.
Well, yeah. I mean, I think at the same time, though, this is where, like, for example, the Texans, for example, the Chiefs, they both came into the game with a lot of question marks and a lot of doubt, and they needed to right the ship. And they righted the ship. It just so happens they did it against the Ravens. There was a inner belief and confidence that they felt like they were going to win. They're not going to press the panic button, and they didn't. That's what you have to look at when you see this team and the energy of this team.
Hey, but other than that, how did you enjoy the play, Mrs. Lincoln? Other than everything that's going on, Qadry, I guess if something were to be different on Sunday, how could it be different for the Baltimore Ravens to stem the tide going into the bye?
I don't know. Because, yeah, you said it. Like, you had your entire rush be better, but you don't have any studs at the D-line that can stop the run.
Yep.
And you have a linebacking core that's probably going to go down as probably the worst in Ravens history. And this is, a Ravens team that has prided itself on, if anything, linebackers. Then you look at, secondary-wise, my goodness, I mean, they play nickel, dime, big dime. They play all kind of different guys, and yet they still, quarterbacks aren't sitting there like, oh, you're confusing me. They're like catching the ball. Then you also look at the way in which the offense is going, and the offensive line, like, you can have as much talent as you want, but the offensive line, like Lamar Jackson, should not be getting sacked the record number of sacks he's getting, period. It's just the way it is. Derrick Henry needs to get to the second level.
Yep.
And shouldn't be having to always, because I'm Derrick Henry, I'm big. Well, last I checked, there's some other big boys over on the defense side of the ball too. And if they got more momentum than Derrick, then their leverage is going to beat them out. You can talk Tom Munkin and get all, bitchy at it all you want, and Keaton Mitchell all you want, but if he can scheme it up, and Keaton can scheme it up, and Derrick can power speed it up, but if you can't get through the offensive line, this league is too talented to sit there and let you dictate to them with your offensive line being the way it is.
How much of this could be solved by a little missile training?
Man, goodness. Yeah. Woo. Don't get me started.
Remind
I'm in the mood. I'm in the mood. I'm telling you. I'm in the mood.
Remind everybody what it is that you're doing.
Movement, and better movement. The art of being durable. The art of proper movement helps perform and command a better performance. MissileTraining.com. You can go there for all your human movement and sports performance needs.
At I am Qadry Ismail is how you follow him. I appreciate you, brother. I will be in touch with you. Hopefully, you can help my son a little bit as he's working that way. And let's talk.
The only way I'm going to help your son is when you yourself personally commit to helping your son. I cannot help your son via you having eloquent words to hype up my ego. I can only help your son when your son is physically in here, and when you invest in your time to invest in him, and you invest in your talents to invest in him, and that is your treasure when you invest in him, because when you look back on it, he's going to be 16, and his 16-year-old self is going to look at his 10-year-old self and say, dang, I missed out.
That was my chance. All right. We're doing it. I'm talking to you today. Love you, buddy. I will be in touch. All right.
All right. Love you too.